Secretary Clinton, how would you not be a third term of President Obama?
Well, I think that's pretty obvious. I think being the first woman president would be quite a change from the presidents we've had up until this point, including President Obama.
Is there a policy difference?
Well, there's a lot that I would like to do to build on the successes of President Obama, but also, as I'm laying out, to go beyond.
To go above and beyond where no man has gone before because she's a woman. Welcome to the Malzberg panel. Hank Sheinkopf and Noah Rothman. Noah, of course, assistant online editor at Commentary Magazine. And Hank is president of Sheinkopf Communications, Democratic political consultant and Newsmax contributor. All right, Noah, you wrote a great piece, The Democrats' Gift to the GOP, and you were talking about Hillary and the debate, right?
Correct, yes. They had every opportunity on that debate stage to litigate the email issue on their own terms and defuse it. And they declined. Hillary Clinton's team has made a very good job of creating the impression that this is a partisan conspiracy theory, a vast right-wing conspiracy, and the audience clearly wanted nothing more than to have that fantasy ratified. And they got it. They had Martin O'Malley very tepidly pushed back, and Hillary Clinton declined to even address it and was rewarded for it by the audience. They will regret it. That issue is now fresh for the general election. Republicans won't be anywhere near as deferential. They will push it hard. And Hillary Clinton's problem is not political, it's legal, and it continues to be so.
And Hank, I'll say to what Noah said, it is political as well, because among Democrats in the polls, she has dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped and dropped. And the trustworthiness issue, the liar issue, the whole thing. So I don't think it's just, limited to her legal troubles. I think she has suffered in the polls, although she's leading, certainly nationally among the whole electorate she suffered, but even with some Democrats.
Well, let's take the win and put it back where it belongs. First of all, there are no legal troubles yet because there has been no indictment. There's been an investigation. The findings have not been released. There has been no congressional hearing. She has two problems coming up. However, Benghazi hearing is one, and the email business is another. But as of yet, nobody's seen anything, number one. Number two, don't be so snide, both of you. We don't know who the Republicans will nominate. If they nominate the wrong person, who is way out there, guess who's going to be the president? One Hillary Rodham Clinton, whether we all like it or not, no matter how we feel. So those are just the political facts. Well, I'm not competent to talk about much else, as you know that, Steve Malzberg.
Well, Hillary, first of all, I'd argue you on the political facts because I think that it is a problem, and there has been a lot known, and Sidney Blumenthal sending CIA agents' names, the Korean...
If you ask people in Iowa who Sidney Blumenthal is, they think he owned a dry goods store in Des Moines.
But they also say Hillary's a liar and untrustworthy, and why is that? It's all about this email nonsense. Even Democrats are saying it's an issue. But let me move on. Hillary... go ahead, Noah.
Well, that just doesn't hold up. The notion, and this is a Hillary Clinton talking point, nobody cares about this email scandal, and yet... When Kevin McCarthy made his comments, they made it the centerpiece of their campaign to the point where they fielded advertisements. They burnt cash in order to get that out there. So the notion that
how do you explain that, Hank?
Explain what?
That nobody cares about it, nobody talks to me about it, it's nothing. And then when McCarthy made his statement, this is what they say, and you were kind of saying that nobody cares about it.
No, that's what I was saying. They don't care about it because it hasn't been defined in context. Everything in a political campaign is in context. If it's out of context, it doesn't make any sense. And right now, people are not worrying about that. And frankly, I got to say, probably clearly, if there's a balance argument between improving the economy in the Midwest so that auto workers and others who have lost their jobs or who are in jobs that pay less, getting them back on their feet, or dealing with issues of war and peace, the emails are probably at the bottom of the list.
All right, well, let's move on to what Hillary said about the trade deal at the debate, cut 116.
Take the trade deal. I did say when I was Secretary of State 3 years ago that I hoped it would be the gold standard. It was just finally negotiated last week. And in looking at it, it didn't meet my...
Okay, it didn't meet her standards. In looking at it, how did she look at it? If it was negotiated last week, how did she see it? And that came up at the press, the White House press briefing yesterday. Here's a question to Josh Earnest.
She said that in looking at it, it didn't meet my standards. And I'm just wondering, is it possible that she's actually looked at it? Because I thought it hasn't been posted or been made public yet.
Yeah, I noticed that.
what he said was, I don't know why all the cuts are cut off at the end. He said, yeah, I noticed that too. So, Hank, how the heck did Hillary read it if it wasn't posted and she's not in the government?
She didn't read it. It wasn't posted. And guess what? She did not do what
she
was
lied.
correct. Politicians do these kinds of things all day long. Al Gore had that magic moment where he invented the internet. Ronald Reagan liberated a concentration camp. What are we talking about here?
We're talking about a woman who, when the first words are put to people, they say, what are your first words? They say liar and untrustworthy. And Noah, here she goes again.
Yeah, exactly. She didn't, and by the way, her quote wasn't from 2014 or 2012, I believe it was actually. It wasn't, I hope that this trade agreement is going to be the gold standard. She said, this trade agreement will be the gold standard. There was no hoped. There was no expression of wish there. She knew what was in that trade agreement because she was negotiating it. And yeah, this really goes to her trustworthiness rating. I don't believe anybody really thinks, Democrats and Republicans alike, that she won't be negotiating or accepting or approving of trade deals similar to the Trans-Pacific Partnership. She approves of this deal. She's merely doing this in order to triangulate her position.
Here's the latest, guys, before we go to break and come back with segment number 2. Here's the latest. Hillary said, I'm against it now, but we'll see whether there's any kind of significant changes. She could change her mind yet again. Isn't that just lovely? All right, we have a lot to talk about when we get back. Donald Trump threatening not to participate in the next Republican debate. What's that all about? We also have some remarks Obama made about Christianity, and we have the latest from Israel and more. It's all coming up on part 2 of the Malzberg panel with Hank Sheinkopf and Noah Rothman right here on Newsmax Television. Don't go away. And back with the Malzberg panel, Noah Rothman and Hank Sheinkopf. And before we get to the announcement today by the President about Afghanistan and the troops remaining there through 2016, Donald Trump has threatened to pull out of the October 28th CNBC debate if CNBC doesn't acquiesce to some of his demands. Now, it's being portrayed that way, but apparently, according to what I gather from all this, there was a conference call today, and CNBC wants an extended, long debate, maybe another 3-hour thing. Trump wants 2 hours, opening remarks, closing remarks. Apparently CNBC doesn't want opening and closing remarks, and he's saying, hey, you do what I want, or I'm not coming. Hank, I mean,
they have specific demands for what his dressing room should look like.
No, but
should
he's
they have
calling
water
the
there?
shots
What kind of
because
water?
it's the difference between 5 million viewers possibly and 25 million viewers.
No, it's the difference between how many people see Donald Trump and the way he wants to be seen and how many won't, whether he can dominate the stage or not. This is the beginning of the end for Trump started occurring some time ago. This will be more of the same. And if he's not on that panel, what he'll probably do is tweet during the whole thing and take attention away from everybody.
Wait, the beginning of the end started where? What poll shows that?
My brother, people start to wake up,
Then
when the great moment of truth is in the voting booth, and when you get closer to it. The man has spent $2 million on the entire campaign. Others have spent a lot more.
Yeah.
He's done very well in the PR sweepstakes, but when you take aside the crosstabs and you look at them about who might turn out to vote for them, it's not the generalized portion of the Republican Party. There's something else going on here.
And what do you say? No, I disagree vehemently.
Good.
No, I think Hank is absolutely right. If you look at his poll numbers, just about every time you see a dip, a substantial dip, it occurs immediately following a debate. Every time. There's something to that. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that a naked viewing of Donald Trump when he's opposed by his own party members is he doesn't look especially great. Where he shines is when he's able to filibuster, and that's why opening and closing statements work for his purposes. All that being said, I think he holds all the cards in this situation. CNBC is looking at a dollar figure here, and if he were to say, plant a flag in the ground over opening and closing statements, I think they're gonna cave on that one.
Now, that latter part is absolutely accurate. This is what politics has come down to. We live in a culture of gossip and entertainment. We now have a presidential campaign that's about gossip and entertainment. What's new? It's not the first. It won't be the last.
Well, the way I see it, he's resonating. There were 2 debates. He didn't fall significantly after either of them. And now if you look at Iowa and New Hampshire and Vegas and South Carolina, we're all going to be first to vote. He has tremendous leads all the way around. National poll, he has a tremendous lead, and he beats Hillary by 5 points in a head-to-head. So, I mean, I just don't see where he's on his way out. But let's talk about our American troops. They're not on their way out either. I guess Barack Obama was led kicking and screaming, Hank, into doing what his generals and his military men want, and that's keeping troops in Afghanistan because it's a mess.
Well, it's a mess, and it became worse the last several weeks when the Taliban were able to mount a significant offensive that's now been checked by Americans being in place. The bravery and the loss and sacrifice that our American Marines and the soldiers and air people put into Afghanistan would all be lost if the Taliban were able to take back substantial portions of the country.
No, well, let me ask you this, away from that a second. There's a report out today that the drone strikes that Obama has launched kills 90% of the time, kills innocents. And I heard one report today that said the bombers don't even know who they're killing. They go by cell phone numbers. If they see a cell phone number that they believe it belongs to a terrorist or a wanted person, boom, they launch the attack. If this was George W. Bush doing things this way, they'd be calling for impeachment of him in the Congress and in the media.
Yeah, they would be, absolutely. I actually have a piece on this coming out very similar to your conclusion tomorrow. But operationally, what we have a problem here in Afghanistan with is the fact that we're relying on the-ground sources who are not American Marines spotting strikes. We're relying on intel that's gathered from 2 or 3 sources removed before we're able to really thoroughly evaluate it. And that's probably partially what led to this disastrous strike on a Doctors Without Borders hospital on October 3rd. It really is going to start to be diminishing returns the less we have actual American soldiers spotting strikes.
Hank, final word?
I agree with that entirely. I think it's a good analysis. So we need Americans on the ground to get this job done. Sadly, not many, but the president withdrawing them would have been a disaster.
Why is the media ignoring all these innocent deaths under Obama, not Bush?
That's a good one. Well, why don't we just have a whole discussion about what's conservative and what's not?
All right. Next time we will. Thank you, gentlemen. Really appreciate it. The Malzberg panel, ladies and gentlemen. Heart disease kills more people than any other medical condition in the United States each year. No one is more aware of this than world-renowned cardiologist Dr. Chauncey Crandall, who has dedicated the last 30 years of his career to helping patients win the fight against heart disease. And that's why he's written the best-selling book, The Simple Heart Cure. The Simple Heart Cure reveals Dr. Crandall's groundbreaking 90-day program that helps to stop and actually reverse heart disease. You can get your copy of Dr. Crandall's The Simple Heart Cure free with this offer. Just go online to newsmax.com/cure or call 1-800-524-8836.